So today we're going to talk about just talk about some immigration today. Just an update because I know I've talked about it before. Kind of where we're at. As most people know, we were suffering from an immigration crisis during the last administration, and we're thousands and thousands. I shouldn't say millions, thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants, whether they were criminals or not, were coming, illegally across our border. And once the current administration came into office, one of his big things, of course, the reason he got elected was because he's going to stop that. And for the most part, illegal immigration is basically stopped, literally. I mean, for every picture I've seen, every video I've seen, the places that were full of people are now all empty. So what the current administration is doing is working. You don't have to like it, but it's working. So and that also puts into question the issue with asylum, because the media was putting out that these people were leaving these horrible conditions and come to the United States, blah blah blah. Well, if that were the case, then why are we not getting any more? Probably because they weren't really seeking asylum. And the stats that I saw, 9 out of 10 people seeking asylum are going to get deported because their claims were false. So, the media was pushing this narrative, as the media does, and a lot of it was false and a hoax and everything else. So, now that the military basically has taken control of the border. Now, my thoughts on that are kind of a little, I don't know. I'm not necessarily a fan of the military taking control, but I understand them taking control is better, per se. But I think what would have been better, I see why he did the military, but at the same time, I think that putting active duty units on the border is not smart. I think that Guard and Reserve units are better. And I think that the majority of the people actually patrolling the fence, so to speak, is should be mainly MPs. The few MPs units that are left in the United States military, but should be MPs as far as patrolling. Now, they brought out a lot of Marine Corps and Army units that put up all that barbed wire. They're probably engineering units. That's fine. But now we got strikers and everything else on the border. Which, okay, I get it. I don't know. I guess for me, having the military on the fence is fine. I just don't think they should be active duty units, whether Marine Corps or Army. They should not be active duty units. They should be reserve units or guard units. So we're not taking it away from our active force. Obviously, if you're using guard and reserve units, they probably will be activated, but they're not affecting your active force. your active forces for deploy war fighting and all that. Not to say that the Guard and Reserve aren't, but especially the Guard, that they're patrolling borders, so a lot of them will patrolling their own state borders. So it just makes a little bit more sense to me. But nevertheless, I think the military on the border has really helped in basically just about shutting down the southern border. I don't know about the northern border, but it's, from what I've read and seen, it's helped with that border too. And what they've done now is they've made, I think, a zone, like a buffer zone. And they've made a buffer zone. I can't remember the exact distance, but they've made a buffer zone, and now it's federal land, so that the states, don't have any control over it. And what they've done is they have some of them are connected to military posts, so those units can go back and forth and get military supplies and whatnot. They're connected to the bases. So yeah, it's a real interesting situation that we're in now, that we've got the military patrolling the border now. Illegal immigration, for the most part, has literally come to a halt, which is a good thing, which is great. And so definitely the president has kept his promise on the border, and yeah, he's definitely kept his promise on the border, doing that. And crazy drivers on this highway, I tell you what. And so he definitely kept his promise on that. Deporting criminals, that is well underway. The one gentleman that they said was just a Maryland father, he wasn't this, that, or the other. I just don't know. I just don't understand why they're pushing that narrative when 2 immigration courts said that he was illegal and was a member of MS-13. I'm not understanding the concept of trying to make him out to be somebody who's decent. I don't understand that concept. I just don't understand, and I think the Democrats are going to fail in this endeavor. In fact, I know they'll fail in this endeavor because there's too much evidence, contradicting what the media is trying to put out. So he's not coming back. This is my take, and I'm pretty sure. I've said this before, but if you're here illegally, then don't be surprised if you're deported, whether you're a criminal or not. It's just that simple. And in any other country, this wouldn't be an issue. But for some reason, in the United States, we think everybody that steps foot in here has a right to stay here. They do not. And there is no such thing as due process for non-citizens. I don't understand why the media is pushing this. Well, was he given due process? Due process of what? He's not an American citizen. What due process does he get? He gets none, other than he's going to an immigration court. They find him guilty of being here illegally, and he's deported. If that's what you call due process, then that's what he got. But trying to get him to stay when he's here illegally is ridiculous. That's not a right. That's not a right for somebody who's not a citizen. And so I just don't understand this narrative that the Democrats and the media are pushing, about this one particular gentleman, but others, I'm sure. But this one particular gentleman, who got sent back to El Salvador. First and foremost, he was here illegally, so him being deported should not be a surprise or a shock. So you knew when you came into this country illegally that there might be a chance one day that you might get deported. That's the chance you took. But with our lenient immigration policy in the last administration, they got it, and prior, they got away with it. Well, this administration is not doing that. So now you're back in your home of record, which is El Salvador. And so now they're talking about we need to bring him back. No, one, El Salvador is not going to release him, and we can't go in there and get him. That would be considered kidnapping. He's a resident of El Salvador, and he's back home in El Salvador. So if he wants to reunite with his family's going to have to move to El Salvador if he ever gets out of jail. That's just the way it is. And to a lot of people, that's harsh, but it's not. You entered the country illegally. You have no due process. Due process is only for citizens of the United States. Due process is not afforded to people who are not citizens of the United States. I don't know what these people are thinking. There is no due process. You are here illegally. And if you were in any other country, you'd have been in prison a long time ago. You wouldn't have been released into the country to live normal lives. No. Because other countries don't put up with that nonsense. And now we're not. So I'm all for this crackdown of illegal immigrants, whether they're a criminal or not. You chose to come into this country illegally. You know that someday down the road you may get deported if you're caught, or if you get an administration like the current one that is not putting up with it. You should know this when you come here illegally. You shouldn't be expecting to be able to stay, despite what the prior administrations told you. Are you that stupid or dumb to not think that you entered a country illegally that you might not get deported someday? Are you really that naive? I guess they are. And of course, our government was helping them. And so now that we're not, they should not be surprised. And I'm also not a fan of birthright citizenship. Because what's happening is that, illegals are coming here, they marry a citizen and then have children, and now it's almost impossible to get rid of them. Or if you're both illegal and you have a child in the United States, then that child is now a U.S. citizen. So it's a flawed system, and we have to do more than just kick people out the country. We have to totally revamp our immigration policy. First and foremost, it should take almost a decade to become a citizen. That's ridiculous. So we have to revamp that. We need to make it much more streamlined to become a citizen. First. Okay, we need to streamline the visa process. We need to streamline all these things so it makes it easier to, come to the United States to work, or to go to school, or to become a citizen if you want to become a citizen. Because there's very few people that do it the right way, but it takes forever. But I respect and admire them because they went through the legal process. But they're a very small number or percentage. So, we just have to do better. And I have no issues with what the current administration is doing. ICE going and doing what first they're trying to get all the criminals out first. Then they'll probably move on to just illegal immigrants. Again, are you so naive that you know you entered the country illegally? These people know they entered the country illegally. They know they took advantage of our system. They're not stupid. I shouldn't have called them stupid. They're stupid for thinking that they'll never get deported. They're not stupid when it comes to the fact that they took advantage of the system. So you can't get mad at them for taking advantage of the system. That's our fault. They took advantage of the system. But now that the current administration is like, no, that's done, they can't get mad or be shocked or surprised. Are you that naive? Are you that naive? So if and when they get done with all the criminals and they start on the regular folk, don't be shocked. Folks are gonna get all bent out of shape. They're here illegally. They're not supposed to be here unless they come through a legal process. It's just that simple. I don't understand why these people have such a hard time understanding this. In any other country, you would not be able to get away with this, to include Mexico and Canada. All these enlightened countries would put you in jail or turn you around, deport you immediately. They're not going to let you stick around, start families, buy homes and all this other stuff, start jobs. No, they're not going to let you do none of that stuff. They're not going to have you let you come in here and create businesses, and we're having them come in and fix our homes and mow lawns and all these things that they do. And I'm not mad at them for doing it, but we're allowing them to do it, and they're not even citizens of this country, nor are they paying taxes or paying into the Social Security system or anything like that. All their money is, you pay cash. So, I mean, I don't understand the outrage when it comes to illegal immigration. I just don't understand it. I just don't. They're here illegally. They need to be deported. It's just that simple. I don't care if it's adults, children, or whomever it is. They need to be deported. When if they come across the border illegally, of course you do the humane thing. You make sure that you do a simple medical check. If they need food and water, you give them food and water. That's just a humane thing to do. Obviously you do that. That's the humane thing to do. But then you immediately take them to a facility and start the deportation process. Yes, it's going to cost taxpayers money, but it's the lawful thing to do because it's the law. It's the law. Yes, the humane thing to do is to make sure that they're physically okay. You do a medical check on them. You make sure that you have food and water. If you happen to have clothes to give them, then you give them some clothes if they need it. But to just release them out and say, oh well, someday down the road you'll have an immigration court date, and they never show up. No, that's not how you do that. You are here illegally, period. Why should you even have a court? Every Homeland Security facility, ICE facility, whatever you want to call it, should have a judge on call or have a judge there. Literally, they should have a judge there. A judge should be assigned to every one of those facilities. And as soon as you bring them in, and immediately that judge does the paperwork and declares them illegal and starts the deportation process. Immediately. They shouldn't have to wait weeks, months, and years to see a judge. No. There should be judges assigned to all those facilities that take in the intake facilities where they send them to. And there should be one there. There should literally be one there. If nothing else, during business hours. And where they can take care of that. And if they're declaring asylum, Of course, that's a little different. That's going to take a little bit longer. So then you hold them in a facility until they get an asylum court case to see if their asylum is legit. If not, automatic deportation. This is not rocket science. And this is not anything that's mean. It's not. You're here illegally. We have laws like every other country does. And you're violating our laws. And if you violate the laws, you get deported back to your home country. Hence what we're doing with all these criminals. We're sending them back to their home country. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So, again, I know I went on a rant, and this is just what I'll call an immigration update, because the borders are much, much better, especially that southern border. So that's good. We've finally taken control of the border after decades and decades of not doing it. This is long overdue. So, will the military be there the whole time? Probably at least this administration is 4 years, definitely. After that, depends on who gets in office. But I think the military being there right now is good because it shows force. They, you know what I'm saying? I believe they've given them the power to arrest, which the military does not have, with the exception of the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard is the only military branch that has the power to arrest people. But I believe, if I've read it correctly, the government has given them the power to arrest. Or if they haven't, there's always going to be somebody from Homeland Security there to do the arresting, which is the way it usually, the way it has been. In Trump's first administration, the military was patrolling the border, but there was always somebody from Homeland Security there to be able to arrest. So I don't know if that's true or not. I thought I had read somewhere that they gave them arresting power, but I could be wrong. And if that's the case, that's fine. There's going to be somebody there from Homeland Security to do that. Because all you really need is the power to detain, and then Homeland Security comes and arrests. That's fine. And like I said, now you're dealing with the military. The cartel is not going to just up and fire at the military just all willy-nilly, because the military is much better armed than the Border Patrol was. Border Patrol is going to be not as well armed as crap. I'm sorry, y'all. These folks just flying through here. I don't feel like getting hit today. Anyways, so that's helped. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds and how long this will last. Prayerfully, this is will be the norm, regardless of who wins the presidency after these 4 years. Because even the Democrats can see that a secure border is the best thing. No matter what you believe, having a secure border is a no-brainer. An absolute no-brainer. So that's kind of my spiel on it right now. Again, I'm all for it. I have no problem with them rounding up the criminals and sending them back to their home countries. We sent a lot to El Salvador because they have better prisons than we do when it comes to incarceration. Our prisons they're run by the gangs and cartels. So our prison system's broke, and that's a whole other issue. So we sent them to El Salvador, and they don't mess around. Whether you like the guy or not, that they're not messing around in that prison. They're not running that prison. they're not doing all kinds of illegal stuff in that prison, you know who's in charge in that prison. And it ain't the inmates, unlike our prisons. The Bureau of Prisons isn't in charge of prisons, and neither is any city or municipality or state. The gangs and the criminals run those prisons, period. I hate to say that, and in our police and sheriff and state and all that, they do the best job they can. But our prison system is broke, and we're really not punishing anybody in prisons. We're really not. And so I think that sending criminals there, I think is a good idea. Sending regular people there, no. Sending Americans there, no. I definitely don't agree with that. American citizens do not need to be sent, even if they're violent ones, to El Salvador. That's not what we do as a country. That's not what we do. That's just not what we do. If they're U.S. citizens, then they need to go to American prisons, despite our prison system being broke. That's just how I feel. Now, if they're citizens of El Salvador, by all means, send them over there. But we shouldn't be getting into that business of sending our criminals who are citizens of the United States to foreign prisons, even though their prisons are run much better than ours. We shouldn't be getting into that business. Now, that I don't agree with. That I don't. But I think the current immigration policy is working. It's working very well. And the little hubbub about that gentleman from Maryland, I think it's all a hoax. And the Democrats will die on that sword. They will not be successful on that. They will not gain any votes from supporting a criminal and a terrorist. That's just not going to work. And despite what they say, 2 courts said that he was here illegally and he was a member of MS-13. He has a criminal record. His spouse, despite what she's saying in the media, was claimed abuse. He's not coming back. So his family either is going to have to stay in America and be without their husband and father, or move to El Salvador and potentially maybe able to get to see him every once in a blue moon. That's just what's going to have to happen. He's not coming back, and El Salvador ain't releasing him. Because now he's a citizen of El Salvador. Well, he was always a citizen of El Salvador, but now he's back in El Salvador. Now it's up to El Salvador what to do with him, and they're not releasing him. So it's a moot point. Whatever Democratic congressman, senator, or whomever activist is going to go down there and try to release him, it's not going to happen. So, and you're using taxpayer money to do that, which is illegal. So it just, they're not going to be successful, and it's already a moot point because it wasn't successful. You wanted to, support somebody who's been proven by 2 immigration courts here illegally and a member of MS-13. Why? So this is what our politics has come to. And again, there are bad sides to both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. It just so happened that the Democratic Party is showing their colors a whole lot more than other than the bad parts of the Republican Party right now. Everything is they're just absolutely crazy. I don't know what they're trying to do or what they're thinking or who knows. So, it is what it is. Again, just my opinion, my view. It is what it is. I know some won't agree with it, and that's fine. But you can't deny the fact that the border is now secured. That's indisputable. You can't deny that. Whether you agree with it or not, you can't deny it. You can't say that the border is not secure, because it is. You don't have to agree with it. Maybe you like the fact that we had a bunch of illegal immigrants here, whether criminal or not, in this country, and not coming here the legal way. I don't know why, especially if you're, a congressman or a senator, why you would approve of that, because that's illegal, and that means you're you agree with illegal activity. You swore to defend the Constitution of the United States. So, these folk are hypocrites. Right now, mainly Democrats, all hypocrites, because they swore an oath, as every government employee does, to defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. So I don't understand how you could be for illegal immigration or for protecting criminals. I just don't understand that. You're a hypocrite, and in reality, you should be fired. You should no longer be able to serve in Congress if you support illegal activities. You swore an oath on to the Constitution of the United States. I just don't understand how these people can still be in office. It's obvious that they're breaking the law. So if you're breaking the law, you should no longer be able to serve in Congress. Period. That needs to change. And that applies to both sides and even the independent candidates. If you are actively supporting and engaging in unlawful and illegal activities as a sitting congressperson, you should immediately lose your job. And then an election will take place to fill your seat immediately. There should be no issues with this. We can all have different opinions and various opinions and dissenting opinions and everything else, but we shouldn't be actively supporting illegal acts or engaging in illegal acts, especially if you're a government employee and you swore to defend the Constitution of the United States. You are now in violation of your oath. Now, I'm not up to speed on government regulation, but I would think that would null and void your service to this country. See, people don't think about this stuff. People don't look at this stuff and say, what they're doing is against the law. What they're supporting is against the law. And saying, I don't understand this. And yes, you will, as an American citizen, get your due process. But these politicians need to understand that when you do stuff that to break the oath that you took, there are going to be consequences. And should be consequences. Period. If you engage in any type of illegal activity that violates your oath, you should be gone. That's just me. Again, that's both sides, and even our independent candidates, and there are very few of them. I'm not trying to be partial. Yeah, I lean conservative. There is no doubt. I do, and I've not been ashamed to say that. But there are just some things that just shouldn't be, regardless of what party you belong to. If you're especially a congressman, country should come first before political leanings. Period. Again, you can agree to disagree, you can dissent, you can do all these things. All that is fine. But when you're actively supporting or engaging in illegal activity that violates your oath, you should not continue to be in office. But these people are just letting them get away with it. We, the voters, are letting them get away with it. Nobody is saying anything. And it's not right. I've just gone off on all kinds of tangents here. But again, the immigration policies of this current administration are working. The borders are proof of it. We have deported many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of, so far, illegal immigrant criminals so far. Again, I have a feeling that that's going to move once we get the criminals out. If that happens within this 4 years, then regular illegal immigrants will be next. they'll be next. Regular immigrants will be next. And you're going to have people crying and carrying on about, you know, oh, well, these people have families and these people have homes. And they violated the law. They know this. They knew this when they crossed, that they were here illegally. You took a chance. You took a chance to come into this country illegally. You took a chance. And now you got caught. And now you have an administration that's not putting up with it. You are violating U.S. law. You are now going to get deported. It's just that simple. There is no, oh, well, where's your heart? No. You're here illegally. You've already violated the law. And the law says that you are going to be deported. Period. Whether it's individually or as a family or whatever. It's tight, but it's right. It's tight, but it's right. It's tight, but it's right. And a lot of people are going to say that's mean, but it's tight, but it's right. We're a nation of laws, and if we stop adhering to laws, then it's just nothing but chaos, and we'll no longer be a country or a civilized society whatsoever. So we have to get back to just adhering to the laws that are already on the books. And we need to make sure that people are doing the right thing, even people who are trying to get into our country. They got to do it the right way, regardless of how broke it is right now. Again, I said we need to do more than just stop illegal immigration. We have to fix immigration policy as well. It's more than just stopping it. We have to fix our policies so that people can come through the legal way, and they're not waiting almost a decade to become a citizen if they want to become a citizen. Just that simple. So that's my little rant and spiel, little update on immigration. I'm sure somebody will disagree, and if you do, that's great. And if you leave a comment, please be respectful, because again, that's fine if you disagree. It's all good. Again, my commentary is my commentary, and just how I feel. Modern immigration policy is not the immigration policy of my ancestors that my ancestors, there was no such thing as immigration policy. In fact, when my ancestors came, there was no country called the United States. So it didn't matter. There was no immigration policy. And if there was an immigration policy when Ellis Island was at its peak, it wasn't modern immigration policy. And even in Ellis Island, they came into a building and you had to see people. You just didn't roll through here illegally. You came to one point and everybody funneled through Ellis Island that came from the East Coast, funneled through Ellis Island. You had to go through a process, and then, immigration policy was different back then, is what I'm trying to say. You can't compare modern immigration policy to what happened in the past. That's just idiotic and stupid, and I don't even know why you're trying. It's not the same policy. It's not the same world. And again, my ancestors came to this country when it wasn't a country. It wasn't too long after the colonies were founded when my ancestors came. And my ancestor who came was an indentured servant, so he wasn't even a free man. He had to work his way into freedom. And then ended up founding Amesbury, Massachusetts. One of the founders of Amesbury, Massachusetts. There were multiple ones, but he was one of them. But again, the United States wasn't the United States, so there was no immigration policy. So, of course, most of the people that were coming to the colonies were of British descent, but there were others from other countries. Obviously, parts of New York were a Dutch colony before it became a British colony. You know, Florida and all that was Spanish before it became, part of the United States. So, that argument is just dumb. It's just stupid. So that's a dumb argument too. So, most of these arguments these people are having are dumb, and they're not sustainable arguments. Because again, in the end, the law says that this, such and so. And so, what does the law say? It doesn't matter whether you agree with the law. What does the law say? Okay, well, then they're going to get deported. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. When 9 out of 10 people claiming asylum are being deported because their asylum claims are bogus, you understand now that the whole narrative the media was trying to push was absolutely a lie. There was no asylum issues. The countries they were coming from weren't as bad as they were saying they were. It's not to say that there aren't bad parts of every country. But what I'm saying is the media was pushing this narrative to make illegal immigration more palatable to the masses. Oh, well, these folk are coming in illegally because their countries are so bad. No, that's not the case. And so, in the end, if you're here illegally, just if I were to try to go into Mexico illegally, I'd be thrown in jail or prison. They would waste no time, 0 time, and would not show me no consideration or anything. Ask that one soldier that accidentally crossed the border because he got lost or whatever it was. I don't know if he was a Marine or what it was. They kept him in jail for I don't know how many days before he was released back to the United States. Mexico don't play. So why should we? Why should our country be any different than any other country with laws? If we have to respect another country's laws, they have to respect ours. It's just that simple. Again, you don't have to agree with it. But the law is the law. So that's where I'm gonna end it at. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, be respectful, of course, and hit that notification bell. Again, I'm very appreciative of everyone who views these videos, likes, comments, and definitely subscribes. Very appreciative. Again, my views are mine. Whether you agree with it or not, that's okay. It's okay. You don't have to. It's okay. I have many a family member that definitely would disagree with my stance. But that's okay. They're still family. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to get in an argument with people because I don't get in arguments with people. I just say what I feel and how I feel and what I think could be done or could be done better or whatever, or what's wrong. And I just leave it at that. And it's up to you to form your own opinion. It's up to you to form your own opinion. And that's how conversations are had. People don't have to agree. We just have to have a conversation. And there's something that we could find that we do agree on, and then go from there. That's what I want to accomplish on this channel. Just to have conversation. And maybe if you don't agree with what I'm saying, we can find something that we do agree on and go from there. And the world will be a better place. All right, I'll let you go, and I will talk to you on the next time. God bless.